The balance shifts in an instant with a lightning-fast strike across the ground. The moment even the smallest opening appears, the attack closes in without warning. No display of power is needed, because precision alone is enough to throw an opponent off balance. Here, even half a second of hesitation can change the course of survival. What species of snake is behind such an astonishing burst of speed? Despite having no legs, snakes are among the planet's most refined predators. As members of the order Squamata, they include more than 4,000 species adapted to a wide range of habitats. They are found in forests, deserts, rivers, and wetlands, but are absent from the polar regions. Some species rely on venom, while many others depend on ambush tactics, constriction, or remarkable speed. Their role in nature helps control rodent populations and maintain the balance of the food web. In the wild, danger does not always arrive with loud sounds, but often through a silence refined over millions of years of evolution. For the spitting cobra, its greatest advantage lies in its expanded hood, defensive display, and ability to make potential threats hesitate. But those advantages are truly effective only when distance is judged with precision. Across an open patch of ground, the snake focuses on a lizard moving at a slow pace. It does not rush forward, instead lowering its body and watching every change in the lizard's direction. Once the distance is just right, it closes in within an instant, leaving the prey with little time to react. The pursuit quickly comes to an end, and the cobra calmly handles what follows. Its next encounter is with a large monitor lizard crossing a woodland trail. At first, the snake appears to have the situation under control by closing the distance at the right moment. However, the monitor lizard uses its powerful muscles and the open ground ahead to widen the gap. After several tense exchanges, it creates a safe distance and moves out of the area. The encounter is a reminder that survival does not belong to those who become overconfident. On rocks still holding the day's lingering warmth, a western rattlesnake lies almost perfectly still. Its tail, made of hollow keratin segments, produces a crisp, dry rattle that serves as a warning across the desert. When prey moves within an ideal distance, the sound fades, giving way to a short, precise strike. But this landscape does not belong to the snake alone. From a patch of low brush, a greater roadrunner appears with quick, confident movements. Weighing only about 1 pound, it calmly changes direction, testing the snake's reactions at extremely close range. As the rattlesnake shakes its tail at nearly 90 times per second, the roadrunner looks for opportunities to disrupt its timing. The encounter ends with a series of swift strikes against the ground. At times, the pressure comes from above. When a red-tailed hawk sweeps over the open terrain, the balance on the ground changes instantly. The rattlesnake coils into a defensive posture, while the aerial predator takes advantage of its angle of approach and speed to gain the upper hand. In the wild, even the most formidable animals must remain wary of rivals that can anticipate their every move. In the natural world, the crown for determination and fearless resolve seems to belong to the honey badger. Rarely intimidated by the powerful animals around it, it still thrives in the territory of the king of the savanna. With a varied diet, in which venomous snakes can make up as much as 25%, the honey badger turns many reptiles into a challenging meal. When a mole snake nearly 6 feet long coils into a defensive position, the encounter is anything but simple. The snake does more than avoid danger, turning its body, keeping its head steady, and responding whenever the distance closes. The honey badger uses front claws nearly 1.5 inches long to dig into the ground, widening openings and forcing its opponent from its shelter. Its thick, loose skin allows it to twist and maneuver more effectively, but it is far from an invincible shield. The tension rises even further when it faces a puff adder. Its venom can still slow the honey badger for several hours, leaving it more vulnerable to larger predators. For that reason, every approach toward a snake is more than a display of courage. It is a test of timing. Survival may favor the bold, but it rewards only those wise enough to choose the right moment. Hidden beneath fallen leaves and the grasses of the African savanna, the African rock python moves like a silent shadow. Large individuals can exceed 20 feet in length, but their true strength lies in patience. Heat-sensing pits along the lips allow the snake to detect the warmth of nearby prey. Rather than giving chase, it waits for the moment an antelope takes a single misstep. When the distance closes, the strike is swift and controlled. Its jaws hold the target just long enough for powerful coils to wrap around it, tightening with each exhale. This is not a display of brute force, but an energy-efficient strategy perfected by an ambush predator. Thanks to its highly flexible skull and expandable jaws, the python can swallow prey larger than its head and rely on that single meal for weeks or even months. In the Everglades, a Burmese python measuring about 16 feet tells a different story in the shallow wetlands. A crocodilian weighing nearly 200 pounds, normally one of the area's dominant predators, suddenly loses its advantage after being drawn into a confined space. The python's powerful coils tighten steadily, shifting the balance without the need for a prolonged chase. The encounter is a reminder that in the natural world, today's predator can still become tomorrow's prey. Over the open grassland, a golden eagle glides low, locking its gaze on a snake moving across the sun-baked ground. With a wingspan of more than 6 feet, it holds a clear advantage in observation and its angle of approach. The eagle drops lower, extending its talons toward the target. But an imperfect grip creates a brief opportunity to respond. The snake immediately coils around the bird's leg, while turning its head toward the point of contact in defense. The eagle spreads its wings, adjusts its balance, and works to free itself from the coils. Within seconds, its advantage is no longer absolute. The outcome depends on the initial approach, the ability to maintain distance, and the reflexes of both animals. In the natural world, even an advantage from the sky can be challenged when the smallest mistake happens at exactly the wrong moment. In the forests of South and Southeast Asia, the king cobra is a specialized snake hunter. Individuals can reach about 18 feet in length, making it the world's longest venomous snake. Its diet includes rat snakes, pythons, venomous snakes, and sometimes even smaller king cobras, making members of its own species part of its survival strategy. Yet that dominance is not absolute. Across Asia, the mongoose is one of the few rivals that can make the king cobra proceed with caution, thanks to its quick reflexes and partial resistance to neurotoxic venom. When they meet, the cobra raises the front of its body, spreads its hood, and carefully adjusts the distance. The mongoose lowers its body, changes direction, probes the cobra's reactions, and retreats after each forward movement. The encounter becomes a test of timing rather than raw strength. If the king cobra controls the distance and forces its opponent out of rhythm, it can maintain the advantage. If the mongoose dodges with precision and extends the encounter, its agility can shift the balance. The outcome depends on distance, reflexes, endurance, and the smallest margin of error in each passing moment. Across the African savanna, once a lion closes the distance, most prey are already at a disadvantage. The lion's strength lies not only in the decisive moment, but in how the pride tightens its formation into a coordinated surround. Yet the grassland has never belonged to a single ruler, as rivals continue to stand their ground. Amid this relentless pressure of survival, what allows the lion to hold its place at the top of the savanna? If the lion is seen as the ruler of the savanna, the Nile crocodile stands as the dominant force of the water. On land, the lion applies pressure through muscle, presence, and coordinated group dynamics. At the river's edge, the crocodile needs only to stay low, letting the water conceal its movement. At nearly 16 feet in length and covered in armor-like scales, it controls the boundary between land and water. Tension rises when these two apex forces meet along the riverbank. A large food source from a hippo draws the lions closer, while also triggering the crocodile's instinct to hold its ground. Here, the strength of the big cat must contend with a bite force recorded at around 3,700 pounds per square inch in large crocodiles. The moment a crocodile moves forward, the male lion understands that one step further could lead into danger. The balance shifts when a crocodile remains exposed too far from the water. The lions spread out, cutting off its path back and turning dry ground into their advantage. One lead lion holds its position near the front, while others apply pressure from both sides, limiting the crocodile's movement. The crocodile responds with rapid jaw snaps, forcing brief retreats before the lions close in again. This encirclement is not about a single decisive move, but about timing and coordination. As the path back to water narrows, the crocodile gradually loses the advantage it once held. In the harsh season, the pride turns a positional misstep into an opportunity for survival. In nature, power can shift with a single step at the edge of the boundary. In southern Africa, African wild dogs stand out as strategic hunters of the savanna. Weighing only around 70 pounds, they are known for speed, endurance, and coordinated pack behavior. Many sources cite a hunt-and success rate near 80%, though field studies show this varies with environment and prey. After long miles of pursuit, their energy drops and lactic acid builds in the muscles, slowing reactions just as the pack secures its reward. Lions see wild dogs as direct competitors for food, often confronting or driving them off when they come too close to their range. Sensing the moment when the pack is fatigued after a long chase, lionesses quietly track from the edges of sparse brush. They keep their distance, watching as the dog's formation begins to loosen around a recently taken antelope. a single sudden burst of speed can disrupt the structure, forcing the pack to abandon the prize to preserve their numbers. As the safe distance narrows, the physical advantage shifts clearly toward the lions. With body weight several times greater and stronger jaws, they apply pressure that isolates any slower individual. The wild dogs retreat, calling out warnings or waiting for a chance to reclaim what remains. On the savanna, victory does not always belong to the most efficient hunter, but to the one that arrives when the opponent is at its weakest. On the Serengeti, wildebeest move like a living current stretching for dozens of miles. An adult weighs around 500 pounds and can reach speeds near 50 miles per hour, faster than a lion in open ground. Their advantage lies in numbers, as curved horns, hooves, and dense bodies form a defensive mass that is difficult to break. Once separated from the herd, that shield disappears. Lions understand their limits. With speeds of about 35 miles per hour, long chases quickly drain energy. So they do not rush in blindly, they wait. When the herd is forced to cross a river, some lions hide along the banks, while others guide movement toward shallow crossings. Amid dust, pounding hooves, and churning water, a young individual slips from the group. The encounter is decided before the dust settles. Not every target is small or isolated. At times, a full-grown adult stands its ground with the strength to defend itself. When pushed into isolation, it turns its horns toward the threat, searching for an opening to break away. The lions shift positions, closing off each direction until others circle in. The pursuit ends, yielding over 250,000 calories, enough to sustain the pride for several days. For wildebeest, survival is tied to the herd. Yet on the savanna, not every species relies on numbers alone. The African buffalo has long been seen as a formidable stronghold of the wild plains. Weighing around 1,500 pounds, each step places immense pressure on any threat nearby. When they hold a tight formation, their shield-like horns combine into a living barrier that is nearly impossible to break. For lions, a direct approach against such unity is always a high-risk choice. The turning point appears only when herd order is disrupted by a moment of distraction. An older, weaker individual falls behind and becomes the immediate focus of shapes hidden in tall grass. Lionesses accelerate to around 35 miles per hour, quickly closing in to cut off any path back to the group. The situation grows more chaotic as the distance from the herd increases. The buffalo responds with powerful turns and loud calls that echo across the plain. If a few strong individuals return in time, they can pull their companion back from danger. But if the herd continues forward, the isolated individual must face the pressure alone. This is the harsh rhythm of the savanna, where herd discipline determines survival. On the dry, sun-scorched grasslands of Africa, a rhinoceros stands like a living fortress weighing over 4,000 pounds. Its skin, nearly 2 inches thick in some areas, and a horn always pointed forward, make it extremely difficult to overpower as an adult. Yet its limitation lies in its vision, as poor eyesight forces it to rely on sound, scent, and instinct. During the dry season, water recedes from shallow plains, drawing all species toward a final muddy watering hole. The lions do not rush in noisily. They circle with the wind, keep their distance, and wait for the weakest moment. When a lone rhino turns just a fraction too slowly, pressure builds instantly at the water's edge. But a single instinctive horn swing is enough to disrupt the formation, forcing the predators to pull back beyond the danger zone. The real risk emerges only when a calf drifts away from its mother's shadow. A few misplaced steps can turn it into a target that lions rarely ignore. Even so, such hunts remain uncommon, because the moment the mother returns, the balance of power shifts immediately. On the savanna, victory does not belong to the strongest, but to the one who chooses the right distance and the right moment. Lions and spotted hyenas have long been seen as enduring rivals of the savanna. They compete not only for food, but also for space and the ability to sustain their groups. On the Serengeti, each encounter often begins with alert calls at dusk. Sharp vocal signals rise as hyenas gather around a food source held by lionesses. A mature individual weighs close to 190 pounds, with a bite force of about 1,100 pounds per square inch. Yet their strength lies in numbers. Around 30 individuals move in, pressing forward, then spreading out to force the lionesses to adjust their defense. Tension builds as a male lion appears from the edge of the brush. Just a few strides of acceleration are enough to slow the pressure. A decisive advance disrupts the hyena's formation, breaking their coordination. The hyenas withdraw, yielding space to the side that controls the moment. On this landscape, no advantage is permanent. Survival favors those that remain composed, read the timing correctly, and step back when needed. This contest repeats across the seasons, a reminder that the savanna grants power to no single species. Unlike the great predators, snakes do not rely on noise to command respect in the wild. They survive by staying hidden, keeping their distance, and responding at exactly the right moment. Within the food chain, quiet precision can play an important role in maintaining nature's balance. If you want to discover more wildlife stories, be sure to like and subscribe to join the journey. Across the sun-baked ground, winding tracks slowly fade beneath the last light of day.